Hey you, it's Jess here and welcome back to PLANMAS. Today's video is very special because it's a collab with Andrea from Scribble Prints Co. I will link her video down below in the description when it comes up. But we are collabing on today because this is a studio vlog where I will be drawing, well at least I can show you here the line art and putting together of my double box scene for my Christmas set Seasons Creepings that came out in September. But I'm just showing you, I'm going to be coloring it in, we're going to be doing the fireplace, we're going to be doing the Christmas tree, all sorts of stuff, and then we'll be switching to a screen recording of first preparing files, so to put them into the format that people will download and use, and then I will be doing the entirety of the main listing picture, so the very first one, which tells you the name of the set and shows you as much of the art as possible, you know, the front picture for the listing. So we're going to be doing that, and then the collab with Andrea is that her video will be her using the clip art after I've done all these files and everything, and making the kit for the Seasons Creepings art that you can then buy and put into your planner. So I think that'll be really fun. You see a lot of the process from both sides, artist and designer or sticker designer, and I think it'll be really fun to watch. So if you've already watched Andrea's, you can we're taking a step back and looking at how that double box scene was made. Yeah, or if you haven't watched her video yet, you can go watch that and see the next part of the process once we're done. So that's really awesome that we have this collab going. It was really fun to do, and first of all, we're gonna get into the drawing. So the thing I did first is obviously I've got the line work done, although you'll see in a second I missed a part. Sometimes it's hard to keep everything straight in a scene, to be honest, but I do struggle with coloring in scenes, especially when I want to fit to a specific color palette, and this was a very challenging color palette in my opinion to make it look good in a sort of real world scenario, like someone's living room. Like, you definitely decorate your living room this way, it's just I'm trying to find a balance so it looks good. So I first of all did this little thumbnail just to give me an idea of how it would look. And I do change some things up, but I think overall it works really well. Now I will show you technically the whole of the scene, but when I finished it I was very tired, both from filming this and you know, just working on the scene. I think it ended up being an hour's worth of footage, and it's on like 4 to 8 times fast. So I apologize if it's a bit too fast for you, but I think actually looks pretty good. But yeah, so I do actually go back, not on camera, but I did change some things up in the scene. I added some textures that I forgot to put in while I was filming, and you'll see that when I'm playing with the files during the listings at the end. And also, if you have the art of you seen it, you'll see that like the rug has a pattern, etc. So it's not completely finished, so I apologize for that, but you know, this was like the one big block of getting it done, and then I went back in and added more details afterwards, which happens a lot. So the main thing about double box scenes, and a tip if you're drawing or if you're planning to draw clip art for sticker kits like the 1.5, is like double box scene. I used to do all my scenes square because I love working in square. It's my favorite format, but it doesn't actually work for sticker makers unless they do the big square sticker, which only a couple of shops do. So what I do is I redid my scene canvases to be the correct ratios for the 1.5 by 1.9 basically, and the double box scene is, if you put those literally two full boxes together, that has literally the same ratio, so it'll fit perfectly in a double box like template. If someone's made that for themselves, it'll perfectly fit in there. And I find that's both useful for the artist and useful for the designer, because then they're not gonna have to cut off like top, bottoms, sides to make it fit in the ratio. So this double box is the correct ratio to be a double box. Just drop it in, although obviously it is much bigger than 1.5 inches or 1.9 inches tall. Obviously I just created the same ratio, but I made the file a lot bigger physically in size, the canvas, because you want to be able to print it bigger or print it smaller, but on the same thing, so I should probably mention here, Christmas trees are the bane of my existence. I think every year I kind of like, oh gosh, I have to draw Christmas trees. They need to have so much detail, and then you have to draw the tree itself as well. And pine trees are not easy to draw, I'll be honest. And it's it's a fine line, but when it comes to Christmas sets, you need the full detail. You need to do them right, and it's always a struggle. It's very stressful. And what I've learned in the last, I got this brush last year, but basically, when you're doing digital art of any kind, do not be afraid of buying brushes and using brushes and making brushes. It's there to make your life easier, like especially with commercial clip art. You have a schedule, you have deadlines, you need to get work done, and sometimes you just got to use a brush to make that faster. So this is like a pine leaf brush that I got in a nature pack. I actually invested in quite a few nature packs because I find like my style doesn't lend itself to drawing nature, so I need more natural brushes in order to get the textures and everything right, because the main part of my art is the black lines and drawing everything out. But I felt like I just was never happy with how Christmas trees looked that way, as well as also like foliage and things that you'd have like across this fireplace. So yeah, I got a brush and I think it looks pretty cool. I really like the way it comes out, and I also make sure to layer it up. That was a big thing I learned last year as well, is to go back over the top of the line art and add some pine brushy parts over the top of your line art, so it looks like your baubles and decorations are actually nestled in there. I feel like that's a very big part of it, making a tree just look a little bit more natural and pretty, because you want them to look pretty. So that was the main thing about that, and then also ratios. But yeah, so there's just some other things. I think the final thing to do with scenes, in my opinion, is that you want detail, but you don't need it to be insane detail. Because remember, this is going to be printed up. Each side of it's going to be 1.5 inches wide. So I feel like it doesn't have to be absolute perfection in detail. Just, you want it to look good, have the detail it needs, and then just look beautiful from, the size it's going to print up as. But I think that's all I have to say for now. I'm going to let some music take you on the rest of this journey until something comes up and I can pop in and have a chat with you. I will be back in voiceover, but I'll just let you enjoy the coloring in process for now. Okay, so that's where we finished up with the scene. I do go back and like I changed up the shadows on the walls and I added some textures and finishing touches. But here we have me saving through the files. So I export everything in PSD format from Procreate, and then I put them into individual like cut down files as PNG for people to actually download and use. So I do like to use like, sometimes I want to just use one canvas for all my baubles or all the stockings, but then most of the time it's good to have them as individual little files. So if you have, make sure you have a transparent background, and then you can just copy paste it and put it on a new canvas, and then it fits nice and tiny on a small canvas. And PNG is just the format. Now this is a little bit longer. My process usually isn't so long, but the fun thing about Photoshop is it just changes up its stuff every now and then. So since it updated, I've had to re-click new canvas each time to get the proper sized canvas. Otherwise it always just wants to paste onto the previous image's canvas size. I don't know. It's a mess. And then I've already had to turn off. It also created like every time you saved, it popped up saying, did you want to save to the cloud? And I'm like, no. I just saved to my computer. So I actually had to look that up and turn off that feature because it's useless. And then at the same time as this, the day before, I was working with some JPEGs for my planner, in my planner setup for 2023, which will be in this PLANMAS. So I was playing with the JPEGs, and so it was like, oh, you want to save everything as a JPEG, right? No, I want to be saving as PNGs. So I actually had to go through, and the thing is, I could save as a PNG, then I could probably close Photoshop, reopen, and it'll probably automatically save as PNG as per usual again. But I didn't really feel like closing and opening Photoshop, so I just carefully made sure I selected PNG for every image. It makes it so much longer, but you know, I was in the zone. When I start doing these files, I get into the zone and we get going. So you see how I do my fashion girls, they're all in the layer of the same canvas, and then I just put them into the same like smaller canvas and make sure to delete the previous one, and you have your variant, and they'll all fit on the same sort of page. So yeah, that's how I edit all my files. It's good to have everything individual, so people could just, you know, plop it in while they're designing. We'll probably see that in Andrea's video, how she works from the individual files and puts them in to rearrange them. So that'll be fun. But yeah, this is how you work it out. It does take some time. It does depend. Since the last time I did one of these kind of videos, I did change up how I do my papers, because remember, if you watched them previously, you would know that for the papers, I was having to manually resize them in, well, there's a finished scene, by the way. It's just a little bit nicer, with a little bit more detail and better shading. It just needed some tweaks. What was I saying? But yes, in my previous one, I showed that I was having to resize glitters and papers to be 12 by 12 inches and 300 dpi. They were slightly off, and that was because Procreate does this weird thing. So I would do the paper, and then I would copy and paste it in Procreate to make an individual file that I would then put onto my computer. I hope this makes sense. But if I did paste from copy, the new canvas I created was always a little bit too small and wasn't my original 12 by 12 canvas anymore. But so I found is I just made new canvases 12 by 12, and then I just pasted into them rather than make new canvas from paste. Does this make sense? Anyway, it keeps the proper 12 by 12 300 dpi ratio, so I no longer have to edit those files. As soon as I export them as JPEGs from Procreate, they're done. So that's nice. So all I have to do is mess with the PSDs into PNGs and then do all this listing stuff. So this is how I get the main listing done. It's a lot like creating a kit, really. But I'm just trying to fit everything in to show as much of it as I can. I like to choose a background that I'll use across all my listing pictures. And then I like to put in the scenes these days because I feel like it fills it out, and also scenes are just a big part of the sets. I didn't used to put them in, but now I do. And then I like to get as many of like one of each girl or person is included on the cover. So this way we just had all 3 of them up the top that I drew for this set. And then I just go through, I have all of the clip art open in Photoshop, and I just go through it from first file to last, trying to fit as much of it in as I can into this listing and sort of just adjusting as we go. And I think this listing came out pretty cute. So this part of the set takes about, how long does the listing take? It depends on the listing. But most of the time it takes about an hour to 2 hours to get all the listings done for all 3 things that I sell. Digital papers, glitters, clip art. And obviously the clip art takes the longest because I am doing all of this rearranging. And then again, I have to do extra pages with all the stuff again, but so it can be displayed so people can see everything that they're buying. And then the scene itself was over an hour. It's probably about, I think one time I recorded how long it took, but a whole set from starting to draw through listings finished takes about 12 hours, I think. Depending on how well I draw. Sometimes I'm a slow drawer and sometimes I'm a fast drawer. So a few sets I've done in like 2 days flat. In other sets it takes me like 2-3 weeks, depending. But like pure hours, I would say like 12, a couple of days of straight up work. So that doesn't really include the planning and whatnot. That's just a pure drawing and setting out the files. But we're coming to the end of this, but I hope you enjoyed this studio vlog. I hope it was informative and you enjoyed watching the process. Definitely check out Andrea's video if you haven't yet. It is going up today as well for her PLANMAS, and she'll be designing a kit with this art, and I'm so looking forward to watching it. It's always so fun to watch that half of the work, and it's like we're collabing on a product but also collabing in videos, so that's fun. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and I hope it was entertaining for today. Even though this isn't the most Christmassy of sets, I really did enjoy drawing and making this one. It was just something a bit different, and it's definitely something that I enjoyed, and I can't wait to put it in my planner. But yeah, otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day and you stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you tomorrow for more PLANMAS. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed. And if you're new here, don't forget to check back. I started PLANMAS on December 1st, so you have plenty of videos to watch if you need that. But otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye, friends. Bye. I love you. Bye. We'll finish out this little bit of dilly-dallying I'm doing with these eyeball baubles. Okay. Bye.